come to order, please? The notice requirement of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy of the annual meeting notice was sent to the press, the Down Beach Current, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, the municipal website, and filed in the office of the municipal clerk. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Attention, salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Becker.
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg.
I'm here.
Commissioner Taube. Here.
We have for approval the minutes of our April 2nd workshop and regular meeting.
I'll make a motion we approve those minutes.
And I'll second. Mayor Becker.
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Taube. Yes.
We will now open for public comment, 3 minutes on any subject at all.
Stephen Altman, 9003 Amherst Avenue, Margate. The insert into the water bill this year was very full. Lots of good information about Margate, as was the quarterly newsletter. The thing that I'm most concerned about as a pedestrian is the stop and stay stopped. I'm going to ask if you would consider in the future making this a separate item so it stands out more and looks like a citation. I'd also like to suggest that possibly the police department, when they stop someone for a citation, that they could also have similar kinds of things to hand to the motorist as a reminder to stop and stay stopped for a pedestrian. And that would also go well in the quarterly newsletter and on the website. Because the more we get out the word about stopping for a pedestrian in the crosswalk, I think the better it will be for everybody. You all, I think, have done very interesting jobs during your tenure as commissioners. The one area where all three of you have not really looked after Margate citizens is in the area of seniors issues. And since you're all running, and one of your also running people is with us, Mr. Amadeo, I'd like you all, as time goes on, to consider that senior citizens have issues like getting across the street without getting run over, or parking in the beach block areas at some point so that they can get down to the beach. These are the kinds of things that I think are truly defined as seniors issues, and I wish that you all would take time to poll seniors in Margate to find out what other issues they might have that the commission can address, not just my point of view. I would also like to suggest that the White House has a task force that has been dealing with police issues across the United States. 3 recommendations that they've made are increased community policing, better use of technology, and improved training and education. I mean no disrespect to the chief or to the department, but I think
15 seconds
that it might be an interesting idea to start a dialogue on these 3 areas that the White House Task Force has suggested might improve policing in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Right on time. Anyone else?
Rich Muskowski, 9000 Winchester Avenue. And I'd just like to thank the mayor and Commissioner Torby for listening to the complaints I had about the lighting around City Hall. And also, since you moved into the neighborhood, I sort of keep track of what is being done around here with the building and all. And I want to thank a few people. The electrician came over and saw me about the lighting and what was the problem and all. And he selected tremendous lights for the building. In fact, it enhanced the building. If you ride at night, the lights shine on the building and on the pavements. They're bright enough, and actually they enhance the building. I also would like to thank the people, the police, who are patrolling around, and around 10 o'clock in the evening, they shine their lights, the spotlights around to see if anybody's hanging around in the corners. And I think it's a good thing, especially in the summertime when the teenagers have a look for a place to go. It was always, the entrance here was always a little bit shaky about a hangout because of the handicap. They hide behind there and smoke and all that. But that has been cut out. I haven't, skateboarders stay off the rails. So I want to thank you for that. Also, the groundskeeping are kept, and so we still welcome you in the neighborhood, and I think all the people around the neighborhood appreciate what's being done. So I want to just thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wiskowski. Anyone else, please?
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Mayor, you have steadfastly insisted that you and you alone handpicked the school board members over the last 8 years. As Commissioner Blumberg and I have repeatedly requested, this should be a shared effort to select the very best candidates, and it would also relieve you of the ethical burden and the ethical consideration of having both direct and indirect conflicts of interest with the school board and the running of the schools. As I pointed out to you at a previous meeting, your appointment of Sless has been atrocious. Atrocious. The man has held himself out as a board member and engaged in direct political dialogue with people, trying to sway them politically. This man, the minute this email was sent out, the very next day, he should have had the guts and the ethical backbone to step down. You can't have politics playing a major role in how the Board of Education is run. This is disastrous. It makes everything he or the other board members do or say highly suspect, that you're running a political board and not in the best interest of both the students and the taxpayers. Mayor, I would most strongly urge you going forward that you abstain from voting on any further school board members. However, you would have an element of input, and you would put up 5 candidates of your choice, but abstain and allow the other 2 commissioners to reach a consensus between those 5 candidates. And if they cannot get 2 yes votes, then submit another 5 candidates for the school board. But having people like Sless on this board for 4 years after this email went out, it's absolutely atrocious. And how you in good faith can sit there and say that this is not a breach of ethics and it is not a serious conflict of interest, I'll never know in a million years. But you can't continue to do what you're doing when it directly and indirectly impacts you, your family, your relatives, or your friends. I want to see an apolitical board, and I want to see you abstain over the next 4 years. We can't continue down this road of a political agenda being carried out to the detriment of both students and taxpayers,
15
Mayor.
seconds, John.
Pardon?
15 seconds.
Oh, I'll give you 15 seconds, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You did that very judiciously.
It's nice to be back. Joe Tosi, 7 South Granville. First, I want to say, a little earlier when I got up and spoke, I wasn't speaking for the Margate Business Association. This is my personal information that I know, because none of those people ever did the signs that I do on the street. And I was just speaking for myself. So, because someone just mentioned to me that was brought up in the Margate Business Association meeting. I wasn't there. Just my personal knowledge. All right. That being said, one of the reasons I came up here was it was brought to my attention that 3 of the boards that were boards for years and years, like the Beautification Board, Ventnor City Street, Ventnor Avenue City Streetscape, and even Design Review Committee, no longer exist. One being the first member on the Beautification Board for 10 years, and on the very first member on Ventnor City Street, we kept this city looking a little better than it is, And one of my functions on the Beautification Board was, I'm a walker, so every time I walked, I bring a notepad and write down different things that I saw, then I would turn them in to Roger and to Frankie Ricchetti, and they would deal with it and take care of different issues. Like today, I took a walk, and one thing I saw on Jasper and Atlantic Avenue, actually the address is 8305, there's a lot of wires come off the telephone pole hanging into the street and on the sidewalk. Now it's dead wires, but it's still hanging. It's an issue, you know what I'm saying? And also I noticed, and I'm sure a lot of people here notice, the curbs. So many curbs are broken and concrete into the street. My question is the homeowners responsible for the curbs, or is it the city? That's homeowners? Well, how come they haven't been approached or let them know that they have to be taken care of? Now, on the Beautification Board, that's one of the things I used to do. And the other thing I used to do is when there was trees that uprooted the sidewalk, I would come back and let the city know, and they would address that, things of that nature, okay? Now, another thing, as being well, I'm not on the Beautification Board anymore, but right now, I'm just going to say this, Barrows have relocated, and they're doing work at the old address. I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem is, this is down at the center of town, and that's very busy down there. But if any one of you has walked around their building, you'll see trash bags in their driveway, around in their alleyway, in the front of the building. It's just trash. We're not talking, material from the building itself because they're taking it apart. We're talking trash. Nobody's even bothered to look at that. Now, I live next door. Now, for years, I used to be on top of those people to keep it clean. Well, I don't know who's taking care of the building part of it now, but they're tearing it down. There's dead mice in the alley, which I kicked aside.
Joe, you have 15 seconds. Thank you.
They have the doors, but there's no doors on the building anymore. But there's actual trash, bags of trash. That's what I'm concerned. There's white bags. They used to have containers where they used to put the stuff in the bags. Well, they took the containers away the other day and left the bags of trash there. But nobody's coming by and picking it out. I'm just saying.
Thank you, Joe.
Mayor, today, coincidentally, Joe, I got an email from Mrs. Shannon Goff. I think she lives in Marvin Gardens, but she was asking about the Beautification Board, too. So maybe after the election, the new commission can decide whether to revitalize that or not. I think it would be a good idea. And you know what? Trash is supposed to be in lidded containers. So maybe
you have containers outside where you put empty cups or something like that. Well, the containers were up there until like 3 or 4 days ago. Now, the metal containers are gone, but the bags that held the trash are laying there on the sidewalk. And there's 3 bags laying there on the sidewalk. If you go into their driveway, you'll see black bags.
Do you want to call code enforcement, or do you want us to take care of that?
I don't want to go over there and talk to them because I always had so much to say to them before.
I'll take care of it. What's the address, Joe?
It's Barrels.
Oh, it's Barrels, the old Barrels, okay.
That's the old building. I don't know if they are part of that or if they sold it to the builders who's going to be doing it, you know what I'm saying? But all the doors have been removed. And if you
Thank
go in
you.
the alleyway, you'll see trash in the alleyway between my building on my side too as well. And, well, you'll have to go see.
Thank you, Joe. We'll take care of it tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
I have one more thing I want to say.
Time's up.
I can't.
I have to be fair, Joe.
No, one more thing.
No.
I just have to say this. Actually, I was saying this year. One thing I want to say, come June, this June, it'll be 4 years that I recommended that city commission meetings go on Channel 2. And I also know that a grant from Comcast was given. All right, 4 years. I know you're holding the tax down every year, and you know you're doing this and you're doing that. 4 years to get it on Channel 2. You know,
I was waiting for that question.
and I know you all agreed to it, and a lot of the people in the audience got up and said they liked the idea, so do I, but nothing's ever happened. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Anyone else?
Sharon Simon, 424 North Orlo Avenue. As I sat listening to the stories of hate and persecution on Tuesday evening at Yom HaShoah, the Holocaust Remembrance, and the date of your fundraiser to celebrate and promote your ticket, the parallels of your systematic attack against Tom Hiltner were frightening. You came into office gunning for Tom, and who better to help you than Ford Scott, who had a grudge to settle with him from being terminated by a prior commission for incompetency. You also hired a business administrator to help, despite your motives. Mr. Deeney, and inferences that Commissioner Blumberg was covering up for Tom, these two consummate professionals refused to engage in such behavior and have spent the last 4 years working on real, important budgetary matters. But you still needed a hook and some bait to feed the frenzy, which you did with the collaborative efforts of Steve Warner, the Margate Concerned Citizens Group, Ford Scott, and the mysterious missing beach badges. It was cleverly masterminded. The badges were put in City Hall's conference room for Ford Scott to audit in early October 2011 and stayed there until the end of December when Ford Scott actually came and performed the audit. At the November 2011 MCCG meeting, before the auditor even counted the badges, Steve Warner reported, quote, "The new auditor has discovered a beach badge problem. He's either clairvoyant or he or someone who wanted to get rid of Tom behind the disappearance of these badges." Rather than follow typical auditing procedures and following up with the 2010 audit report recommendations, which you all signed off on, Ford Scott happily obliged in making the beach badge audit a high priority, interestingly enough, a month after Steve announced that they had found a problem. To seal the deal, you authored an email, which ultimately became the Ford Scott management letter, blaming Tom and prior commissions for years of Tom misusing authority and power for his own gain. Mayor Becker was part of that, one of those administrations. And since Commissioner Blumberg would have no part of this witch hunt, you have tried to turn the tables on him. The hate continues with the stepped-up attacks on Commissioner Blumberg, spouting untruths and propaganda to try and convince the public that you are the heroes who have saved us from Tom Hiltner, and now you must save the city from Commissioner Blumberg. You created such ugly, vicious, dirty laundry, which you zealously air in public, costing us over $650,000 and great embarrassment. Margate citizens are too smart to take the bait and deserve much better. As you say in your campaign, you really have done the impossible. It's unbelievable. Now you're going to defend and say you didn't do this, but it's all in black and white. I have the minutes of the Margate Concerned Citizens Group meetings. I have the entire management letter that you authored with all kinds of wild accusations that not only go after Tom Hiltner, but Yogi Hiltner, Dee Dee Hiltner. You left no stone unturned.
15 seconds.
And everything you have done in 4 years, including going after Marketplace Realty, has been because you think Tom Hiltner has done wrong. It's an embarrassment. Now, this management letter isn't like a letter, an opinion letter in the Current that they got the wrong person's name or it was signed by the wrong person. This is an acting commissioner Commissioner Tobby, who wrote a 3-page letter that became Ford Scott signed as the management letter, and accused Tom Hiltner of taking a kickback, which you redacted because you didn't want that in there. This is what we have for 4 more years? I hope not.
I really didn't want to do this. However, speaking about letters to the current that weren't written by that person or whatever, however you said. I had a visit today from a lady who had a letter published under her name last week in the Current. Okay, says she has never written that letter. She knows who wrote that letter. She had no idea about the content of the letter, and I think that person may have been you, Sharon. Yes. Okay.
That letter was not written solely by me. It was written by a group of people, and the Current made a mistake and screwed up, which James Fitzpatrick called me about because they intercepted a letter. And without having a letter and following their policies, that a person who writes a letter sends it on their email and asks for it to be printed with them, they screwed up because the person who took the information was wrong. And the reason why he retracted it is because it wasn't. There was another person with that signature, but they chose not to put it in there. So you're right. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with someone signing a letter that someone else wrote. It happens all the time. You've had many letters by Maria DeCincio or whatever her name is with all kinds of lies. So the issue here isn't, was there a letter with the wrong signature? The issue is that a commissioner wrote the management letter and Ford Scott put their name on it. And somehow, either you or Commissioner Tobby or Steve Warner had inside information, somehow had those beach badges disappear, and then went after Tom Hiltner for it. $650,000. And I had to hear from last meeting, you're bickering over a $20,000 difference or a $10,000 difference. It's okay, you had the numbers wrong? Really? If you want to run on a letter within the Current without the right person, and you want to say I wrote it, go for it. I'm not running for office. You are, you are, you are, and you are.
And it was $596,000.
What I do? Yeah, and that makes it better? Does that make it better, Commissioner Tobby? Can you defend yourself because it's a different number?
Mrs. Simon, for the record, did you or did you not write that letter?
I don't have to answer a question for you.
Okay. Any other public comment? Pardon me?
Was the information in the letter accurate?
No, it was not.
Yes, it was, because you look at the budget numbers, the debt numbers, on your website, gross debt has increased.
Okay, we'll talk about that, okay? Okay. Any other public? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I don't think it was right, because I think they had $700,000 for the help settlement.
Steve Warner, 103 North Sumner Avenue. Well, I'd like to say, first of all, everything that I sent to the Current, I wrote, okay? And I'm proud of it. And you can check the figures with the Margate website or anywhere else. And incidentally, as far as the beach badges go, I Oprah'd the beach badges, and that's how I got the information. And this was never brought up, but I'll bring it up now. 2010, there were 1,800 beach badges missing, okay? This was never checked into. And the person that wrote up the beach badges left off the 1,000, so there were 895. But if you add up the figures, and check it on this website if you want, you add up the figures of the missing, there was 1,800 beach badges missing in 2010. And we never got an answer about that one either. Anyhow, I had one other thing to say. Has anything being done about the Atlantic Avenue being turned into one lane and having have we done anything with that, or is that?
I think we're waiting for a grant on that still, aren't we, Chief?
There was a possible grant and also possibly another study to, make sure that we get that right.
So it's probably not going to go this year?
It doesn't look good at this point. We're into...
Okay, because the group was interested, the concerned citizens were interested is for safety reasons. right, thank you.
We're all concerned with safety.
Okay,
We
thank
are.
you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I have a question on that, Mike. Tell me about a study. We're going to do another study?
I recommended that we possibly do a study. Well, not another study. We had a recommendation from the chief. We never had a study. That is correct.
And what are we looking for? What would the points be in the study?
We want recommendations to make sure that we get that correct.
That it is or is not right to go to the recommended one lane like they have in Longport?
Possibly that, and also if we do, the design.
Are there concerns that predicated the fact that you want to do a study, other than the chief having made the recommendation?
No, I very much respect the chief's recommendation. As a mayor, I want to make sure that for all the citizens, we get this correct.
And so have we authorized the study?
We have not. We're waiting for Mr. Deeney to get back next week, and then we will deal with that.
Okay. But the reason I question you is because I thought we were moving forward, and like Brenda said, we were waiting for a grant, but that we were looking, the last I had heard, we were looking to proceed with the project independent of getting the grant, because we weren't talking about a ton of money to do it, that we all had agreed that from a safety standpoint, it was the right thing to do. We had a recommendation from the chief, and it's surprising to me that it's on hold.
Well, that's what it is. Thank you. Anyway, motion to close public comment.
I'll make a motion that we close public comment.
I'll second that.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Talby?
Yes.
Okay, we will, and is there any public comment on resolutions?
Sewell, 22 West Drive. I, for one, eagerly await the Mississippi Mudflat letter to appear.
It probably will.
It'll be on the top of the Roberts list of favorite beverages. But getting into something more serious, more monetary, I sort of remember the howling that went on under the original auction for those. We're on 75-2015, Mayor, if you care to peruse the agenda for tonight. Are you with us, Mayor?
I'm with you, John.
All right. There was a howling that went on last time. I clearly recollect, although I doubt you can, Mayor. And $200 a spot for 365 days is kind of ludicrous. $1 a day would be $365, and that should be the starting point. Because we're on the hook for if anybody gets hurt there, they trip and fall on ice or snow, and 365 barely begins to cover the actual cost of those spots. And it would be far better for the spot to be empty than to tend to assume the liability. I think the counselor might even agree on that point, but I'm not going to press him at this late date. But 365 should be the number. $200 is a farce. Table that tonight. Get the money up to 365. And I think you'll be getting a little better deal for the taxpayers. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Talby?
Yes.
Johanna, would you do the resolution, please?
Okay. Resolution 73-2015, and initializing interlocal service with Longport to provide vehicle maintenance.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Talby?
Yes.
Number 74-2015, authorizing interlocal service agreement with Atlantic County regarding the city's provision of snow removal and street sweeping services.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tauby?
Yes.
Number 76-2015, authorizing receipt of bills for Parkway Irrigation Replacement Project.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tauby?
Yes.
Number 77-2015, authorizing receipt of bids for municipal building energy generator project. Motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tauby?
Yes. Johanna, I think we might have skipped over 75.
Oh, we did.
Okay, so I'm going to vote yes on 2015-77 for the record. Now I think we can go back.
Okay. Number 75-2015, authorizing auction of spaces in municipal parking lot, North Washington Avenue, minimum bid $200 per space. Motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tauby?
Yes.
Number 78-2015, approval of change order number 2 for the 2013 road program. A motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tauby?
Yes.
Number 79-2015, approval of change order number 5, final for the 2012 road program. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tauby?
Yes.
Number 80-2015, authorizing receipt of bids for municipal building Phase 2. May I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tauby?
Yes.
Number 81-2015, authorizing payment of claims and payroll. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tauby?
Yes.
Number 82-2015, authorizing request for qualification janitorial service. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tauby?
Yes.
Number 83-2015, authorizing application for Section 5310 program funding for Federal Transit Administration.
I'll
May I
make
have a
that
motion?
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tauby?
Yes.
At this time, we have no updates.
I would like to thank you, Johanna, however, before we adjourn, for taking on this new role of yours and also for all your help in the absence of Tom and Rich, along with Chief Wolfson. Thank you both.
Thank you, Johanna. Is there a motion for adjournment?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tauby?
Yes.
Thank you.